Hello there and welcome to my video on how to paint watercolour mountains. Today I'll be using 300 GSM cold pressed paper. It's the Saunders Waterford, and I'll be using just three colours: neutral tint, Payne's grey and yellow ochre, with two brushes. This is my medium brush, and for the details I'll be painting with a smaller brush. I have this sketched out the mountains. These are my local mountains, and I have put a border around with masking tape, low tack masking tape. So before applying any colour, I've wet the paper and now I'm adding my colour, and this will have the effect of merging the colours out so that I don't get any hard lines. It's called the wet on wet technique. This is now a mixture of Payne's grey and neutral tint, which provides a lovely dark shade. And as you can see, because the paper's wet, the colours merge out and they mix together in a really nice way. Here I've cleaned the brush, and all I'm trying to do now is just blend the colours together slightly so that it produces more of a blended effect. And in the corner, because I want it quite dark in the corner, it's actually quite misty in the photo, I've added a lot more dark on the right hand side. With the wet on wet technique, it's really important that you don't add a very diluted colour on top of a dark colour that hasn't quite dried yet, because otherwise you'll get cauliflowers, as I call them, which are quite good if you'd like them, but not good if you don't want them. It's one of the things a lot of beginners make a mistake with. So here I'm daubing on high concentrated colour. If it was more diluted, it would create a little explosion of white. So I've waited until the sky has dried. This is a little bit more of a mix of Payne's grey with my neutral tint. And I'm just covering the shaded side of the mountain, the shadow side of the mountain. It's actually darker at the bottom of the mountain, so I'm trying to get that effect there. And I'm mixing the colours almost on the page, not in my palette. This is my little detailed brush, so I'm being quite careful just to make tiny little marks and daubs to highlight where there are little shaded elements in the snow. This is a wet on dry technique with my little detailed brush. So as it's wet on dry, the colours won't merge out, and so they'll create hard lines. If I don't want a hard line, and I've already put one down, then I wet the brush and just go over it slightly, and the colours will merge into that area of wet. So here I'm just trying to follow where the mountain goes. In the photo I'm just following where the contours are. In general, the areas that are closest to you are darker and warmer, and the elements that are further away from you, like mountains in the distance, will be lighter and a cooler colour. I'm not sure quite how that strategy works with a snowy landscape. So this is my first time doing a snowy landscape too. So we're all learning together at this point. Here I'm just trying to get a lot of the dark shading towards the bottom of the mountain, because that's much more in shadow. I'm using my little brush here a lot more than I usually would, because I cannot find my favourite brush. Which is a sword brush. I highly recommend it. It's just a cheap synthetic brush from Dale Rowney, and it's got an angled edge, and I really like it. The brush that you see me with there, the slightly larger brush, that's a very good quality natural hairbrush, which absorbs a lot of water, and so it's a little bit harder to control. I find the synthetic brush is actually a little bit easier to control because they absorb less water and less colour, and so you have more control. Here I'm just tracking the sky up a little bit because I didn't wet it first. You can see where the lines are, and then I've gone over to try and blend it later. Here just adding a few extra little details. Little shadow areas with a detailed brush. And where there are little highlights, I've just added a little extra yellow. And this is me hair drying my painting. Always a good tip. It does blow the water around. It does blow the colour around. But sometimes I just don't have the patience to wait. Here I'm just trying to add a few little details of the grasses that are just emerging from the snow that aren't quite covered. I'm using a mix between the Payne's grey, the neutral tint and the yellow ochre to get quite a dark, sort of almost green colour. Adding a few little extra wisps here, being very light and wisping, following the movement of the grass, wisping up. So I think that's about it. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like me to do some more videos and tutorials, then please also subscribe. That'd be great. And it will really help me out. So I hope to see you again.